So imagine it's Monday morning, you are an account executive, and your manager says, "We have got a promising lead from Acme Corporation. See if there's an opportunity." It actually sounds simple, but except you have never heard of Acme before. Before you can even send one email, you need to answer a dozen of questions like who they are, what do they do, and who makes the buying decisions, right? Have they raised any funding? What technology do they use? And here's the surprising part, none of that is actually selling, it's just preparing to sell. So I asked myself a simple question: what if AI could eliminate the work around selling and instead of trying to replace the salesperson? Most sales team don't struggle because they lack information. They struggle because that information lives everywhere. Research is on one tab, email is somewhere else, meeting notes are buried in another tool. Then you have to remember everything and manually update the CRM. And that's basically called context switching. Every time our brain switches from one task to another, it pays a small cognitive load. One switch isn't a problem, but dozens throughout the day creates friction and makes us slower. Think about cooking a recipe. Imagine the ingredients are in one room, the recipe is in another, and the stove is somewhere else. You could still cook dinner, but you would spend most of your time walking around instead of actually cooking. And that's what many sales workflow feels like today. So instead of designing another dashboard, I designed the first conversation between the salesperson and the account. At this stage, the user doesn't want every possible detail, they want confidence. And that's why I used progressive disclosure. Instead of overwhelming the user with hundreds of fields, the interface first answers three questions: who is this company? Why should I care? And what's my next step? As you can see, you have the AI summary, which basically describe what the company is, what are the key signals. It also shows the stakeholders, and it also gives you a preview of what is the next best action. The rest of the information is still there, but it's revealed only when the user needs it. The assignment asked me to choose one area to explore in depth. So I chose outreach because I think this is where the AI has the biggest opportunity to help without taking the control away from the user. Now, if you can see on the left side, you will see a sidebar, and on the center, you have the email composer, and on the right, you have the AI assistant. Now, notice something interesting. I didn't hide the research once the user started writing. That's intentional. One of the biggest UX principle I wanted to preserve is recognition over recall. Instead of asking the salesperson to remember company facts while writing an email, I kept the context visible. The interface remembers, so the user doesn't have to. The AI doesn't automatically send email or make decisions. Instead, it helps with repetitive tasks like refining tones, suggesting a subject line, or summarizing the account research. The user remains in control. Now, once the conversation starts, the user needs change. They don't need research anymore, they need coordination. This is where another UX principle guided my design, which is maintaining continuity. Rather than sending users to an entirely different product or workflow, the same workflow evolves alongside the relationship. For example, it highlights the timeline, the stakeholders, the documents, AI insights, and the next best action. Instead of forcing the users to adapt to the software adapts to the stage of the sales journey. Notice that these aren't three separate dashboards, they are really one workspace viewed at three different moments in time. That consistency reduces learning, lowers cognitive load, and helps users stay focused on what matters most at each stage. For me, this project wasn't about designing another CRM, it was about designing an experience where AI quietly removes unnecessary work while keeping the human at the center of every important decision. Because the best AI product don't replace expertise, they amplify it.